Hello, guys. I'll go by the name East Coast Prince. Welcome to Storyteller Nigeria. And please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. So, today we'll be highlighting Pastor Abel Damina's things he said on the Honest Watch podcast, what he said there, and comparing it to what Dr. Paul Enenche said as relating to both of them, because Pastor Abel Damina on the Honest Bunch spoke a lot about Dr. Enenche. And let's see how the story aligns. I saw a video where somebody talked about it, if the story tallies. And yeah, let's just look at this and we are our take on. I would like to hear your take too at the end of this. So let's go.
The easiest person to learn anything from is one who has the proofs of what they are saying. You can't teach me church growth if you are not pastoring a church, or if you don't have a church that is growing. You can't teach me financial principles if you are looking for transport money.
Let's see.
If you want me to hear about divine direction from you, tell me the directions you have received. And not just the directions you have received, the proofs of the direction. I am telling you directions with proofs.
So I was giving this illustration of how he came to me. And he said, if I have people in the UK that can give him scholarship, him and his wife want to go and read masters, so that when they come back from the UK, they can start medical missions from village to village and all of that. So I told him, okay, they gave me the letters. I still have copies of the letters. So I said, okay, I'll pray about it and I'll talk to you guys. I gave them my guest house, they stayed. My guest room, they stayed. I prayed that night, and in the morning, the Spirit of God spoke to me that no, he shouldn't go to London. He should go and start ministry now. And I woke up in the morning and I called him and the wife and I told them and I prayed for them. And he said to me, but he doesn't know where to go. And I said, I hear Abuja in my mind. Pray about it. And he said, okay, but I don't have anybody in Abuja. And I told him, when you get to Abuja, when you get to Jos, go to Abuja, arrive early in the morning. Just do evangelism on the streets. As you begin to preach, you will come across somebody who will receive the gospel and give you a place to stay. And exactly like I said, it happened.
Because I am too afraid.
So we can hear Pastor Abel Damina's preaching, I say preaching, his narration of the whole story about how Dr. Paul Enenche got to Abuja and started his ministry in Abuja. So this is his own version and his own take. And we're about to hear Dr. Paul's take. So I'd like you to listen to it and just deduct from it what you can get. So let's go.
Afraid to do what God is not involved. Too afraid. I am too afraid to go on a journey that God is not involved in. So I was at a junction. 3 ways to go. Lord, which is the way? And I separated myself. The last week of May to the mountains of Ganarop. 3 days fasting. Repetitious tonguing. First day I had nothing. Second day in the evening I was sitting on the rock outside and praying at the Capital School of Ministry in Ganarop. He said, what I spoke to you about, and this is like 10 years previously, the time to step into it has come. How, Lord? Where, Lord? And specificity, not just Abuja, but where in Abuja? Where? Not miss.
So I just checked out Ganarop to be sure the location of Ganarop, and from here, what I could get here is that Ganarop is in Plateau State. So he was in Jos, literally Plateau State, Jos. So he was in Jos. The mountains of Ganarop is actually in Jos. So the whole linkage of Jos to Abuja, we see that it's actually aligning. The locations align. He went to the mountains of Ganarop in Jos to pray for clarity. Then, just to be sure of God's divine direction of how He's going to move. So that part, we've seen it. That's okay. It's aligning. But let's continue.
Miss road to Metama, not miss road to start in Wuse. The specific location. And while that was happening, my wife was at home. Lord, whatever you are telling him, tell me here, so that I can confirm that you directed him. When I returned back home, she opened her book and brought her note, word for word, what I was receiving. And whenever I hear God, I jump out like a madman. No break. That was how I stepped out. And for God to confirm, the moment I landed in Abuja, at the area, Zone 5 junction, I off my shoe, planted my feet on the ground. He said, wheresoever the sole of your feet shall tread upon, I have given it unto you. And I stepped cast with bare foot, crossed the road with my shoe in one hand and my bag in another hand, like a madman, taking over territorial control. Ay. Hey! I ran into a young man who testified in the first service, who met me. I was around 500 level, 600 level, when he came from Otukpo and met me. He came, he's trying to look for admission to the university. I gave him 25 naira of 30 something years ago. He used it to buy remedial form, entered the university, and lived with me. There were 5 of them. We were 5 together in the room, all in my room. Fed freely, ate freely. He said in his testimony today, he said that room was on fire of prayer. 70% prayer, 30% academic work.
Just for clarity, I don't think this part is this part here where it talks about their room, 5 people in a room praying. I don't think it's not part of the Abuja story. This is just part of his narration, because he met somebody to which he used as a point of reference, of which he had history with. It was a 500, 600 level when he met the person, and where all of them were in the room and were praying. So it's just referencing back. This is not part of the Abuja story. So let's continue.
With InDrive, you can take a ride at your price. Choose a top-rated driver and fill your life with feelings, passions, music. InDrive. Choose a fair price for your ride.
If you are not praying, you have no business in that room. He was ruggedized, graduated as an architect, and then had been in Abuja. As I stepped across the road, who did I see? The person that I bought remedial form for university, who graduated.
So he was the person that he literally helped in the university, and they had that history in the university. He met the person in Abuja,
who is now an architect, who is standing, ran to me and said, Brother Paul, can you see that divine, calculated divine, Brother Paul said, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Gwagwalada. I had a friend in Gwagwalada who was a lecturer in School of Nursing from my village. I thought.
And then he went to Abuja and started a church.
So his story, basically, right now, we're listening to it, and there has not been any reference to Pastor Abel Damina in his story so far. Is it possible that it was part of the story, but he doesn't want to bring it into his story? Or the role Pastor Damina played in the whole story, maybe Pastor Damina is over amplifying it in the whole thing. Maybe it's not as deep as Dr. Abel Damina makes it seem in his own narration. We don't know. So let's just listen.
When the church was to move into Sheraton, because they had a guy called Adamu who received Enenche, gave him a place to stay in Abuja. His name is Adamu. And this Adamu of a guy sponsored for them to move into Sheraton because the parlor they were using was no more enough. So when they moved into Sheraton and got the smallest room in Sheraton that takes 80 people, he called me to come and preach.
My name is Right Honorable Adamu Entonu. I want to
Retired Honorable Adamu Entunu. This is the person that Dr. Abel Damina referenced. And if you notice, they also dropped a clip of this guy. I think it was the same person that gave testimony. Let's look at his face.
to discountenance
This is the face. Let's see in the clip. In the clip here. Is it the same person? It looks like the same person. I'm seeing the bald head, but I don't know if it's the same person. If this is the same Honorable Adamu. So, well, let's listen to what Honorable Adamu said.
Me to come and preach.
My name is Right Honorable Adamu Entonu. I want to discountenance the claims made by Abel Damina in his recent podcast that Dunamis Church started from my parlor in 1996. That is a lie from the pit of hell.
Wait, from here, let's go back and listen to what Pastor Abel Damina said, because what he said can be taken out of context. It can be interpreted differently. It's quite ambiguous, so it can be interpreted differently for different people to take what they got from that statement. But let's look at it and let me tell you what may I think he was saying. So let's go back to his narration. This is what he said.
His name is Adamu. And this Adamu of a guy sponsored for them to move into Sheraton because the parlor they were using was no more enough.
This Adamu of a guy sponsored for them to go to Sheraton because the parlor they were using was not enough. Nothing there specified that it was his parlor. And parlor in this context can also they can also be referred to any space, literally. It might not necessarily be the parlor of somebody's house, but any space that they were using in a house or in a place, any space they were using. It can be interpreted as that, or to which that is what I took it as not literally somebody's parlor. So this message and the way the retired Honorable Adamu is interpreting this is different from the way I took this message. And the way he's interpreting it makes it look as if Dr. Abel Damina is lying blatantly and he said this is parlor. But from the statement here, there's nothing that referenced that he was saying that it was Adamu's parlor. He was just saying that Adamu helped them find that space and helped them move to another space from that space. You understand? Using parlor in a context because maybe at that point he couldn't just use space. Parlor could mean any space, but they were somewhere before they moved to somewhere. So let's listen.
Received Enenche, gave him a place to stay in Abuja. His name is Adamu. And this Adamu of a guy sponsored for them to move into Sheraton because the parlor they were using was no more enough.
The parlor they were using, even had to use his hand to demonstrate, to just show that we meant a space.
So when they moved into Sheraton and got the smallest room in Sheraton that takes 80 people, he called me to come and preach.
My name is Right Honorable Adamu Entonu. I want to discountenance the claims made by Abel Damina in his recent podcast that Dunamis Church started from my parlor in 1996.
See how he said in my parlor. So he made it look as if that's what Dr. Abel Damina actually referred to his parlor, which was not outrightly stated in his own narration. But let's go.
Is a lie from the pit of hell. Dunamis Church never started from my parlor in 1996. Dunamis Church actually started from Agora Hotel. We held 2 pre-inaugural meetings in Agora, after which we now moved to Cultural Center where Dunamis was officially inaugurated.
So in Agora Hotel, of course, they used the space in Agora Hotel, and they held 2 inaugural meetings there before moving to the cross-cultural center. So fine. So this compared to Dr. Abel Damina's narration, of course, there are some elements missing in Dr. Damina's narration, but it doesn't outrightly make his narration a lie. That's what I'm trying to say. It might just be his own, what's the information he has, to which might not be as detailed as people that actually experienced it. But his information doesn't look outrightly like a lie. Because first of all, he got the name of the person that helped them, which is the Adamu guy. For him to know that person's name, it's not everybody that is within that space that will know that person's name. You know. Another thing is that Dr. Paul Enenche has not outrightly dropped a disclaimer that or debunked what Dr. Abel Damina said. So let's continue listening.
A friend in Gwagwalada who was a lecturer in School of Nursing from my village. I thought, he said, do you know where Gwagwalada is? I said, I don't know. He said, he said, can you come with us to our house? I said, really, where is it? He says, at AYA Asokoro here. I said, okay, let us go. While we were inside the bus, he said, brother, the fire you carry, that fire I know from the campus, this town needs it all. I haven't told him anything. He repeated it 3 times inside the bus. The fire you carry, that fire that I know from the university, this town needs it all. After I mentioned it the 3rd time, 4th time, I said, that is why I'm here. He screamed inside the bus. Then work has started.
You could say that, first of all, Dr. Paul's story, the person that helped him is someone he knew from the past. That element, that particular keynote is missing from Dr. Abel Damina's story, which almost made it look as if nobody that was familiar to Dr. Paul Enenche was the person that helped him in his own story. So elements are missing from Dr. Abel Damina's story, but it doesn't necessarily rule it an outright lie, because the elements that are missing are elements to which only the person in it, that's only very few people or the person close to Dr. Paul will know. You understand? It doesn't make a story a lie because there are some truths to it. Location, we've seen it that it seems right just to Abuja. The Dr. Adamu's name correct. Then coming to Abuja, somebody helping him in Abuja preaching. There seems to be a little bit of truth, but not an outright truth, because elements are missing from another person's narration. And it can happen to anybody really, because the way I will say my story is different from the way someone on the other side looking at me will say the story. So I can't say Dr. Abel Damina is lying from what we have heard so far. So let's just continue and hear it to the end.
That was the connectivity, the linkedness of the direction. To somebody that I gave money to buy form to study architecture. That person is a naval captain today, colonel equivalent in the Navy. He testified today. I gave him again the money he used to buy the form that took him to Nigerian Defense Academy. Again. Everyone doing good. Somebody say amen. That is the dignity behind this. If God doesn't give you calling, you can't have color. The color of a calling is determined by the color. Hey! This colorful calling you see, people coming from all over the world, whites, blacks, Hispanics, all manner. See, is a proof of the dignity of the color. My mother used to say, the hand of God is upon you. See people plenty. You know what she said? that if you go from house to house and give people cola nut, cola, please, I have a meeting, come. Will they come? They will eat the cola and still not come. You buy them Fanta, come. Will they come? It's not of him that willeth or runneth. It is of God that showeth mercy. And if God has not shown.
Okay, let's see if there's any other part here that also speaks on the same thing. So far so good. I think we've gotten the clear message and the stories, and this is my own take from it. I feel like Dr. Abel Damina, yes, it might be a part. I think he was a part of this is my assumption. I think he was a part of the whole process in terms of maybe he spoke to Dr. Paul Enenche, maybe his own version of them coming to his house to stay during the whole journey from the transition from Jos to Abuja. He played a role in it. But I feel he is trying to his own narration is overplaying. He is amplifying the role he played in the whole transition thing, of which the person in question, which is Dr. Paul Enenche, has narrated his own, and he has shown that the role Dr. Abel Damina played here is quite minimal compared to what Dr. Abel Damina was saying in the podcast. Because, of course, it's an individual's journey, so it's the person that knows what's up. It's possible that I might have met not just Pastor Abel Damina, but also other pastors in the whole transition period. It's possible that other things might have happened. The fasting for sure was there in the mountains of Garop. It was there and everything. So I'll not say Pastor Abel Damina lied, because if it was an outright lie, of course, I'm sure by now it would have been totally debunked. But I feel like he played a role directly or indirectly. But his narration is quite amplified. That's how I feel like. So that was just my own assumption. I'd like to hear your take on this. Tell me what you think about this, and tell me if you feel like their stories didn't align at all, or there's nothing in common with their stories, or what's your take from it. Yes, and yeah. So thank you for this content. This is just my own take and observation from this. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to comment. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.